What is up, guys? It's Flash back with some more charts, another video. It's Tuesday, June 24, about 5:10 p.m. Eastern. Let's get on into it. Thank you to LaDozier for the Michael Saylor video or image in the background. I actually just watched The Matrix last night. Great movie. I was on a flight home. Like I said, Tuesday, June 24, agenda. What are we going to do? We're going to look at Bitcoin. Where are we in the grander scheme of things? We're going to look at our overlays with M2 and gold. Going to look at some new data around standard deviations thanks to Julius on Twitter, on X. Going to look at my new rate of change indicator. I think we can maybe try to predict the future here, guys. Let me know if I'm crazy, but I think I could be onto something here, so let me know in the comments. And then number 5, we're going to look at MSTR, BTC. We're also going to look at Metaplanet and Blockchain Group. So guys, this is turning into a weekly video. If you guys want to have a daily dose or a daily package delivered every morning at around 8 a.m. Eastern, feel free to subscribe on YouTube. I have a new membership going, so we're doing daily videos. If you're watching on X, just go over to YouTube and subscribe there. I will be releasing this subscription/membership on X shortly. Okay, let's get into it. So here we are. Here we go. Bitcoin on the daily time frame. We got a 72 out of 100. We're not near the peak yet, in my opinion. We have consolidated really for the last 2 months or so. When we kind of look at it from a different perspective, in a regular scale rather than logarithmic scale, hard sound money getting adopted across human civilization over time. Such a big, powerful idea. It's getting stronger every single day. The network that is Bitcoin, the hash rate, transaction volume, I believe everything's going up and to the right, guys. So a good reminder to stay patient, stack sats, and I think I have some more ideas here to maybe stack some more sats than you otherwise would. So I'll get into that pretty soon. Okay, here's kind of my standard drawings for Bitcoin on the daily time frame. You have these blue bands, which I've really started. I put on the map kind of when Bitcoin was just breaking out here, back in April, and then it's held up pretty good. You have your midline here. You have a little bit of a bull flag in the middle, and then this indicates the distance percentage from the moving average, the 30-day moving average in this case. So that's that yellow line here. So you'll see we kind of make these patterns, these consolidations within the moving average itself, right? And you can kind of think about this as energy building up within Bitcoin's price. And so you see here when we broke above the zero line, that gray line here, and we broke out of this little energy pocket, that was a signal that, hey, Bitcoin has some newfound energy, probably to the upside, right? And so here we're trying to get above the moving average, just like you can see here. We broke it out of this, a couple touch points here on the daily time frame. That's why it's a dotted line. The real energy momentum breakout line we want to get above is this thicker orange line here. So still some work to do, but I think we are well on our way, guys, and I think we go higher. So here is M2 pushed forward by 94 days. Again, that's the highest 30, 60, 90 day correlation I have found recently. So we've definitely deviated the past 30 days, but as you know, this is a generality, right? This is going to be a directional indicator, I think, for Bitcoin. And so I do think, and you'll see in a couple slides why I think we go immediately higher. Also, gold pushed forward by 97 days has a higher, stronger correlation, right, than the M2. Gold likes to sniff out liquidity conditions more so in real time, so it makes sense to push gold forward just like M2. And when we put them both on the screen here, guys, again, we've just consolidated. We've really gone sideways. There are consolidations in both of these charts. They're just a little bit shorter. Bitcoin, I think, is building up more energy to probably go higher, right? I think it likes to maybe potentially go higher here or to the upper band. And so I wanted to introduce Julius here, who I've stumbled upon on X, at JV_finance. So what he did with the M2 was put 2 standard deviation bands, below price and above price, right? And I was like, that is just so smart. Like, it's not going to be a perfect match. And what a great idea, I think, to do that, right? So this is Bitcoin with his indicator overlaid in the background. I just took a screenshot from his X profile, but he's got what the fair value is if we follow the M2 perfectly, and then a standard deviation or 2 below that thicker blue line, and then you have a standard deviation or two above that blue line. So I think that could give us some really good signals in terms of, okay, if M2 is going to be going up, and that's what we're seeing in the price chart itself, and Bitcoin is at a lower standard deviation band, I mean, that is a super buy opportunity in my opinion. Not financial advice, financial entertainment, but I think this could really help us out in the future. So I kind of made my own, like it's not going to be a perfect one-for-one match. This is, again, just an overlay, so I have to kind of try to match it up with price. It's not going to be perfect. It's more so an overlay to kind of set expectations for myself, right? So while Julius is, he's got it perfectly lined up. I think he coded a lot of this in Python and then transferred it over to TradingView. I just kind of did it in TradingView, so it's not going to be perfect. But again, the idea is the same, right? So that core orange line is just the smooth moving average of M2, and then you have your standard deviation bands below and above. And so when you take that and then you throw gold in the middle of that and try to match it up, I mean, gold found its way, or M2 and gold kind of ran up here together. Gold had its own unique run. I think Bitcoin is also going to have its own unique price action, but it's going to be within these standard deviations of M2. So I think that's really key and interesting. And then moving on. Okay, so this is this next chart, and these are my own indicators that I created. Well, I just kind of had the idea of throwing the rate of change of the M2 and of gold onto the chart underneath the price chart, right? And so this newer white line, this is the rate of change of Bitcoin. So the rate of change of M2 pushed forward by, I think the offset was 94 days. And then the rate of change of gold pushed forward by about 97 days. So what I want to do is find that highest correlation of M2 and of gold, and then I want to push it forward by that same number. And I think we can kind of detect what is Bitcoin going to do in the future. Other than just following the overlays on the chart, I think when you look at the rate of change, this could be a local top here for M2 and of gold, right? And then it kind of forms this consolidation pattern, and then it kind of loses its downtrend, loses a secondary downtrend, and then later this summer, it breaks down, right? So that means I think Bitcoin is kind of going to take a break, right? It's not necessarily going to continue going higher. It's going to probably go sideways at this yellow line point, right? And this green line could be the local top. And I think once these lines go below the zero line, so this gray line that you see here, that's when Bitcoin would start to go down in price, right? So I'm going to keep my eye on this. I think this could potentially continue to break out. M2 and gold, the rate of change could continue to break out, and we continue running into the fall and winter. And that would kind of coincide with this continued business cycle into 2026, Q1, Q2 of 2026. That's going to also play a part in this. But I kind of have this feeling, and again, not financial advice. I know that everyone feels very strongly about buying and never selling their Bitcoin, but I think this could be an opportunity, and I may explore this to when this kind of breakdown occurs, and maybe when I'm thinking Bitcoin's going to go sideways or down, maybe take some off the table, right? Convert it back to US dollars, and then if it does go down, and if it does have a breakout, kind of like it did back in, March or April. Again, if this was pushed forward by 90 days, we're going to know that this breakout is coming. That could be an opportunity to then line up Bitcoin's current rate of change and buy in down here. So like you kind of sell or take some off the table and you buy back down because you kind of have this forward-looking indicator that could tell you Bitcoin's future price movements. So I'm not sure if I'm explaining that correctly. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that kind of makes sense. Could be a fun experiment. Again, not financial advice. You guys got to do what's best for you, but I think I may try playing around with some of that stuff. So I think that's super interesting. All right, over to MSTR, right? So MSTR is still kind of consolidating in this channel, in this parabola. This is the daily time frame, and I think, again, going back to the distance percentage from the moving average, this is a clean downtrend line that we want to get above, right? If we zoom in, here's MSTR on the 3-hour time frame. I think we're really close to a breakout here, this energy getting released. Again, if you want a daily update of this and all this other stuff, feel free to subscribe, guys, because I'm posting it every single morning. So I think this is super interesting, and I have my eye on this. I have notifications and everything set. And so back to Julius and JV_finance. This is MSTR on the daily time frame. M2 is going very quickly to the upside. MSTR is in this -2 standard deviation band. Like this thing, you know, if we look at the fair value here, and he has dates here, so June 24, July 8th, July 22nd, August 5th. You know, if we go up to the first or second standard deviation, that's where I'm talking about MSTR could get to 1100, 1200, you know, as soon as July. Like this could be very, very explosive. So I wouldn't rule it out. You know, I would say we're oversold, and M2 is about to really make a fast run. So it's definitely been like a tough consolidation, but here's, you know, my take on MSTR. We have these like beach ball being held underwater vibes, right? And I grabbed this fractal from, you know, that first explosive run, I think, you know, before the October run. It was the one before that. So this is just to show that MSTR can go super quickly to the upside. If we're going to release this energy, you know, price is kind of showing us, hey, it's ready to go. And so I'm pretty excited. I think this is a very unique time in the market right now. So MSTR measured in Bitcoin, not much has changed. We're still flagging out here. I think this is a bull flag, but it's a battle of the green and yellow kind of domed consolidations, right? So we're going to see which one plays out. I do think this could make, you know, some sort of turtle shell, just like MSTR was, and Bitcoin could break out and leave MSTR for a day or two or three, and then I think MSTR would kind of sniff it out and explode to the upside. I think that's what it's done previously. So here's MSTR measured in Bitcoin on the daily time frame with our little energy indicator. We're pretty close here, guys. So this will be, if this breaks out, I think that would kind of conclude, for me at least, that okay, MSTR is going to outperform Bitcoin in the short to medium term. All right, last but not least, we're looking at Metaplanet. You know, just my 2 cents here on Metaplanet. I do think, you know, we have a little bit of a momentum or energy breakdown, so to speak, on the daily. So we're still above this zero line, which means we're still above the 30-day moving average, and it's probably an inclining moving average. So that could mean, you know, we still could go sideways or to the upside, but I'm just saying, you know, the lower risk entry for Metaplanet was at the beginning of May, end of April, right? And then, you know, there's a breakdown here in momentum. So I think we could probably take a pause, go sideways, and if you're a Metaplanet fan, don't get mad at me. I just want to give you some objective evidence here of what I'm seeing, at least, right? And so kind of a similar story with the blockchain group, ALTBG. You know, a little bit of a momentum / energy breakdown. You kind of have this head and shoulders look on energy, and a breakdown. So I would expect this to maybe start going sideways, building more energy for either a continued leg higher or potentially a breakdown. So I'll kind of continue following, guys. If you want these updates on a daily basis, feel free to drop me a subscription or join the membership. Ultimately, I'm super excited. This guy, and Julius, I mean, he has me pumped for what's to come and how we can better keep track of this. So drop me a like if you guys found this helpful. I know I moved fast. I'm trying to get through a lot of content, but hope you guys all have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.